I mentioned earlier it's a very special day for Purdue University. Gene Cernan, Purdue alum and the most recent astronaut to walk on the moon, said, "Why are there so many astronauts from Purdue? What are they doing over there in West Lafayette?" So we're going to talk about that. What would you say, how would you say Purdue, prepared you for your successful careers? Any favorite highlights or memories from your time at Purdue?
So I literally went to Purdue because they had the most astronauts and Neil Armstrong went there. I didn't even apply to a backup school, which was kind of dumb now that I think about it, but everything worked out well for me. But it was inspiring to me. I mean, not to embarrass, but at the Armstrong Hall, there's a wall of astronauts, and I would go by Drew and Mark's face while I was studying there every day. I didn't touch them or anything, it was weird. But I did look at you guys. I'm like, one day. So really, I mean, that kind of inspiration to, follow in the footsteps of just really incredible alumni, was something that kept me going, because engineering was hard. I found out really quickly that I didn't even know how to study when I first joined freshman engineering. So just looking at some of the achievements really helped keep me going and seeing what is after graduation and how this education I'm going to get at Purdue is really going to, align me for success. And I mean, how awesome that we have such incredible graduates that are literally teaching people that the sky is not the limit. It's just the inspiration we all need.
I also have to note, Sirisha's face is now up on campus. She humbly left that out.
And your face will inspire others to do the same thing, and that's the beauty of it. I, too, went to Purdue because I believed in its ability to create astronauts and create opportunities. And Purdue has so many graduates around the world, not only in our country, but around the world, that are in aerospace and exploration, that I think it just supports the development of people that then want to get into actual human spaceflight. You had the panel just now with the Armstrong kids. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, led the way to the surface of the moon with Mike Collins. But knowing that Neil was there and knowing that Gene was the most recent person on the moon, I think that inspired all of us. So just like you were inspired, I was inspired by thinking about them, and led me to Purdue and thought about the opportunities that it created. And I think that does the same for people wanting to get into industry and do other things. It may not just be exploration, but Purdue is such a great school, such a great institution for this state and the country, that it just breeds excellence, and it shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise, I knew of Purdue's legacy, both its relation to NASA and its relation to space explorers, and was drawn to it, and it was my first choice school as well. You asked, or maybe Gene Cernan asked, what's happening out there in West Lafayette? Honestly, it really is, and thank you to the current and former presidents of Purdue, a magic place. I had no idea until I was there. We all worked like dogs, slaved at our homework overnight, many all-nighters. But it's an environment where you learn humility, teamwork, and support, as well as the craft that you're there to learn. And I came out of there a much more well-rounded individual than the idiot kid who started there. And so I think there is magic in West Lafayette. Thank you to Purdue.
Okay, so 3 really eloquent responses. So, true confessions. I had no clue that Purdue was a place that astronauts went to. Okay? I didn't know anything about Purdue. I kind of came to Purdue by accident. I grew up in New Jersey, and I found Purdue through a friend, and I applied, and I'll make the story short, but I came to Purdue. I started out as a physics major. And after a year, I found that I liked physics, but physics did not like me. So then, when I was finishing my freshman year, and if anybody's here from Purdue, you might have heard of a place called Cary Quad. And that's where I lived as a freshman and a sophomore. This astronaut came to give a talk at one of the common areas, and the guy's name was, just as Kate said, Gene Cernan. And so I got to meet a guy who had walked on the moon. And wow, did that go ahead and set me for a loop, like, I want to be like that guy. And so that started me on a path. And every time that I would have a reunion, I would remind Gene in a form like this how I met him when I was a freshman, and he inspired me, you know, as some older guy. So Sirisha, thanks so much for doing that to me in return. Okay, but it's funny, and like Drew said, it's gonna pass on, right? Because somebody's gonna see one of you folks and be inspired by that. But like Beth said, I started out like I said, I didn't know anything about this university. Well, I learned a heck of a lot in a very short period of time. And there's a big difference between what you start out as a freshman and what you wind up as a senior. You grow so much. And yes, Beth, this university gave me everything that I needed to become successful and get out there and set the foundation which allowed me to go ahead and get there. And so I have undying gratitude to Purdue.
Well, Purdue gave me a career in human spaceflight. I mean, it is that simple. It's what I wanted from a very young age, and I knew a lot of astronauts went to Purdue, and I said, even if I don't get to fly in space one day myself, I want to enable human exploration of space, and this is the school that I need to go to be able to do that. And Purdue taught me, to Sirisha's point, it was real hard to get through Purdue engineering. And you know, you get to graduation and you think, man, I survived that, I got through it, I did it. That is how hard some of this stuff is that we are doing. So those challenges and all of that, you know, really hard work, that has followed me my entire career, and that is what it takes to expand these barriers that we're all talking about, and to explore space in this way. So it taught me determination, it taught me stick-to-itiveness, it taught me that there is absolutely no way I can do this on my own, that I am still close friends with the people that I went through Purdue engineering with. I relied on them and they relied on me to succeed when we were engineering students, and they are still my colleagues and my mentors and my commiserators now that we're all out in the industry, and we continue to succeed together even though we're all at different companies and sometimes we're at the same company. So all of those things that I learned at Purdue as far as how to survive and succeed, I have absolutely relied on it my entire career.